Bror Fredrik coming at you with another live AMA from my studio here in Las Vegas. And before AMA, for those of you who don't know, ask me anything, just about anything. And before we get started, I'm going to invite you to like, share, subscribe. I'm doing the wind up, bam, and hit that bell button to get notified when I do this again, which is at least 5 times a week. AMAs are on Fridays for the most part, so you don't want to miss those. Hit the bell, and if you'd like to support me and my efforts here on YouTube, you can go ahead and I don't mind any super chat. Super thanks after. You can click on all those links down there, including the new FU F1 t-shirt, both men's and women's, to show your displeasure with the whole situation. So let me fire up the chat, say hello to a few people, see what's going on here. Yes, we are live. That is cool. Oh, I'm getting, what am I getting? 1-800 contacts. I don't even wear glasses. It's a miracle I don't wear glasses, but I do not. What is the next one? Best tacos in Las Vegas. Who's this? Taqueria something or other. All right, never mind all that. I'm going to say hello to a few people. Let me like my own video first before we get started. Bam. All right, that makes 19. Hit that like button. Get those likes up. What do we have? 41 people to kick things off. All right. Mary Leathers, 2 years. It just popped up here. Thank you very much for that, Mary. Loyal member for 2 years and a mod. So thank you, Mary. All right, let's say hello to people. And if you do want to ask a question, you do have to be a subscriber for, I think, 10 minutes I got it set for. Let's see here. 10 whole freaking minutes. Is that going to make you nuts? But it keeps down the fluky dookies. All right, let's see who's here. Jim is not here. He says, see everyone tomorrow. Shout out, Jim. I'm sure you'll watch it later. Janice, Maria, Yo-Yo, Sony, Chris Nat and Frank, Venus. Frank, keep them coming, keep them coming. How's the mic sound? I gave it a little jaunty tilt today. I mean, does it look bad? Does it look weird? Is it like triggering your OCD? I got to adjust the light over there because it's casting a shadow on me. I don't like it. I don't like shadows. All right, I'm going to put it all up in your grill over here. Is it still shadowizing me? Yeah, bastards. What up? Tom Mac in the house. I love the way you guys say hello to each other. I think that's awesome. Daniel, Sean, Bert. I want to catch everyone. I think I can catch everyone today. Jim Wolf is in the house. And let me, while we're at it, let me get a mic check. Oh, there's a hair on it. Hopefully that's mine. I don't think anyone else has been in here. I touched it. Let's see. Please shout out Las Vegas, Nevada. I shout out Las Vegas, Nevada all day. I happen to be here. Miss Google's in the house. Who else is here? It's a nice bright sound. Is that good or bad? I don't know. I keep messing with stuff, you know? I can't help myself. And Carolyn. We're up to 61 people. That's even better. Oh, well, maybe there'll be more if I go to all messages. Did everyone enjoy that walk last night? Walked, what did we do? The TI to the Sphere? It was a little windy. It was a little, it was nice though. It was beautiful. Right now in Las Vegas, I haven't been outside in a while, but when I was out about an hour and a half ago, it was 84 degrees and not humid. It was gorgeous. You fell asleep watching? Did my voice put you to sleep? I hope not. Let me get that mic check. It's all good. All right, good. Yeah, I thought it was a great walk. I had fun talking about various things. Venus kicking off the super chat. If you were to move, where would you move to and why? All right, I'm gonna hold that in abeyance. I'm gonna let a few more people jump on. That is a very good question, and let's quickly give a shout out to our 2 channel partners before we jump right into it. which is Tiege Hanley for all your men's face care. I don't know if they do any women's product, but women, buy it for your men. You know you want them to look their best, and so do they. And let's see, what else do we have here? And of course, my longtime channel partner, and Tiege is getting up there too. You guys are still ordering it, and we're still in good favor with them. They love us, I love them, good thing, and it's working, right? Keeps my complexion fresh. I'm on point because I gotta like be up in the camera all the time. I can't let my face go, and neither should you. Less than a cup of coffee a day, 30% off, link in the description. And our channel partner, Olight, for the best damn flashlights and EDC carry gear known to man. All right, so today, oh, my nose is itching. One of you people are gonna ask a hell of a question. I feel it coming. My nose is itching. All right, little ground rules first. Go ahead, ask whatever you want. Don't be creepy. I'm not going to tell you my social security number or my driver's license number. We can talk about just about anything. If I feel it's a little too personal, I might beat around the bush, but I'll still give you an answer. I keep it pretty simple that way. Venus, thank you very much. I haven't worn this shirt in a while. I gotta pull out all my other shirts. I have like 50 of them, but I've been wearing like the same 10 or so. But yeah, and I gotta send them to the dry cleaner or whatever. Or I don't actually mind ironing. I could iron. Yo with the 2 Bananagramas. Those super chats are awesome. All right, so let's kick it off. Let me get a little comfortable. Let me lean to the side a little bit here. I got the air conditioning on 69. I keep it on 69 year-round, despite what the weather might be outside, because my place never, ever cools off. Although, since my air conditioning was fixed, well, I don't know about fixed, but they rebuilt it, my electric bill was $30 less than it was year over year last year. So I guess that's pretty cool. You know, $30 is $30. That's $360 a year. Average it out, maybe it'll be $300. And it's not running 24/7. Let's see. Oh, that is a good question. Okay, let me get back to Venus. If I were to move, where would you move to and why? Okay, as many of you know, I love Lake Tahoe. I don't think I could be a year-rounder in Lake Tahoe. It's just, I mean, as much as I love the cool and the snow and all that other stuff, I don't think I'm down with the 20 feet snow drifts and losing your car until spring and that type of stuff. It could be fun, but my ideal situation would be to be tri-coastal. I would do Lake Tahoe, I would do Florida, and I would do somewhere in the Northeast. I love the Northeast, you know, soft shell, crab season, you know, trawlers, Billy Joel, the whole 9 yards. I like Connecticut, but I also do like Massachusetts and those states. But ultimately, what one of my goals is to basically, I would love to buy a big motor coach, like a Pathfinder with 4 slides and marble, not a fifth wheel that you can pull, like 4-wheelers in the back, but something like really, really nice and just cruise the earth. I mean, I was so turned on by the concept of Amtrak when I came across that station in Santa Barbara, saw all the people having fun and whatnot. I would love to do that too, which I might do. I don't know if it would be supported because, it would be kind of rough to, I would still, have employment elsewhere and whatnot, but remotely. Whether I could do a YouTube channel based on that and just be like, well, I wouldn't change the channel, but Bror Fredrik living on the road on Amtrak, I think that'd be fun. But motor coach is my ultimate goal. It's been my goal, and I came this close a couple of times. I had a big bounder at one time, 38-foot bounder, no slides. I mean, this is way back. That is my ultimate goal. I just want to hit the road. And what prevented me last time was just the sheer lack of internet. Back then you used to have like a 4-foot dish on a pole and carry around cinder blocks. And it was just, then they started putting those giant domes on the roof, but they were getting sheared off, going under overpasses. And, now all you need is a phone. So that kept me from really doing it. That's something I would love to do. Let's see. Janice with the 5 bananagramas, and she says, did I have any other pets before Opus? Yes, I did. I had, dogs. I had 2 dogs before, and their names, they were pit bulls also, and their names were Leather and Lace, male and female, kind of sexy, right? Lace, the female, she was like, she was very like independent. She was a little bit of a troublemaker. She was like the Eve to the Adam, Leather. She used to always do stuff like, she used to teach him how to like dig under the fence, and she would dig under the fence and jump under and whatnot. And she'd be like, come on, bro, eat this apple. She was a bad influence on him. And they both learned how. I had these big trees. This was in New York. They both learned how to she taught him. She was the first one. They'd get a running start. The tree was like 6 feet at the base, across. They'd get a running start, and they would run, and then they would make their way to the first limb, and then climb the tree and just sit up in the tree like, like lions and tigers do with the paws hanging and everything. It was kind of trippy. And then they started doing that over the fence into my neighbor's yard. So they would not be on his property, but they would be on a limb over his property. And they used to just freak them out. So needless to say, there was some border wars going on. Other than that, I had a couple cats. I had my cat Blackie, and that poor thing, one day I came home from work and I saw my neighbor's house tented off by like Ornix or one of those like pest companies, complete house tent. And I was just like, oh, because their house was, wasn't a modular home or anything. It was just old. It was a really old house. And it had like a crawl space underneath it. And when Blackie just wasn't in the mood to deal, he'd go, I never kept inside cats. He would go under the neighbor's house. And that's how Blackie met his demise. He got gassed. It was very sad. Then I had Cat with a K, K-A-T. That was the cat who, I think I showed some pictures, or maybe I'll post them in the Broad Nation Facebook group. That cat loved the water. It was a Balinese. It looks like a Siamese, but a Balinese. Didn't shed, hyperallergenic, the whole bit. I mean, if you went to buy one then, I don't know about now, they're like $1,000 for one of them. Because they're for people who are allergic to cats, you can get a Balinese and probably mitigate a lot of that. And it's living his best life ever. Didn't come out to Vegas here because when I first got here, I didn't know, A, if I was going to, is that an A? 1, if I was going to stay. 2, how long I would be like kind of bouncing around, because I spent a month at that shitty no-tell motel next to Boulder Station on Boulder Highway. That was a bit crafty before I found my place and signed all the papers and all that type of stuff. Left Cat with a K with one of my friends who had a ranch. Horses, cows, pigs, chickens. It was an outdoor cat, but he used to sleep inside but roam during the day. Most lovable creature. And then my most recent cat, again, Midnight or Luna, had him here. I think one of my neighbors kidnapped him. Bit sad. But that's and I've had like lizards and snakes and stuff. I went through that phase. I went through like a reptile phase for some reason. I used to keep saltwater fish and clownfish and sea anemones, and until one day the tank caused a huge problem in the house, and that was the end of that. All right, let's get back in there. Did I miss anything? I don't think I missed anything. Questions, bring them on. We got all the hellos. You thought about buying a fifth wheel before you bought in Venice? Yeah, I mean, I just love the idea of just traveling and just being on the road, and I love it. Some people say I could never live out of a suitcase. I'm one of those people that as long as I had a home base, I could live out of a suitcase. I got zero problem with that. El Gitano. We have a leopard gecko. Her name is 21 years old. I didn't know lizards lived that long. I had a gecko. I had a leopard gecko too, and I had just a straight brown one that I bought from I don't know, Pets. It wasn't PetSmart. There was another one before that, a long time ago, and I released it into the house because it had. This is one of my first apartments. It was a little bit crafty. It was the first. I think it's Pellegrino time. Bonk. It was the first and only time I had cockroaches in my very first apartment. And someone said, well, get you a gecko if you can get used to the bark and then release it, and you won't have a cockroach problem anymore. This was in some ass area in Queens. And sure enough, it worked. Released that gecko. Never saw another cockroach after 2 or 3 weeks. Maybe less. Oh, that's good. Bubbling water. But I didn't know they lived that long. I had a tegu. Used to have to feed them mice, and whatnot. Wouldn't eat dead ones. That became a little problematic. But yeah, I went through my lizard phase. Lizards were fun. 2 hairless cats. Cats hate car travel. What old person things do I do? I gotta think about that. What old person things do I do? Wow, that's interesting. All right, that's a good question. I like those insightful questions. Old person things I do. All right, yeah. I'm gonna have to be honest. Brady, what's going on? Thank you for those 5 Bananagramas. I do appreciate that. Sometimes I save paper towels. Sometimes if I wipe something up that's just water, not coffee or anything stupid, I will hang it off the edge of the counter, let it dry, use it again. Is that an old person thing or just what is that noise? Or someone who's extremely frugal. I'm not cheap, but I am frugal. Money's hard to come by. Gotta bust your ass for some monies. So yeah, that's one of the old people things that I do. I get annoyed when people play loud music when I'm home. Except if it's my own, I'm just like, oh, them bastards. Don't necessarily like when people cross my lawn to get where they're going and whatnot, because I think that's just rude. Am I turning into a curmudgeon because of that? I don't know, maybe, but I do get a little annoyed at a little more annoyed at dumb stuff than I used to. So yeah, maybe that is a sign of age. I don't know. Yours eats worms. Yeah, you feed them the mealworms, right? Yeah, right. Ron. Hey, what's up, Ron? Me and Ron hung out for a little while last night after I got done. Yeah, I'm frugal. I mean, holy shit. I went and bought some steak. I'm trying to get on the carnivore, just become full-blown freaking carnivore with an occasional salad, which is really just a conduit to eat a half a bottle of dressing. So freaking expensive. I bought all this meat on sale, and I don't know, a couple of packs, maybe it'll last a week or so. It's $110. $110. $4.99 a pound for crap meat. Someone posted in the Broad Nation Facebook group a little package like this big. It said ground beef. This is $10 worth. I mean, are they trying to starve us, or are they following along with Bill Gates, who thinks we should all eat bugs? Go read some of the stuff that he comes up with. He's like, you know what? We could solve the climate crisis by just getting all Americans to eat bugs. He wants to eat bugs. Put the thing over your face and eat some bugs and shut up. You first, Bill. Makes me crazy. Come on, I want to hear questions. Yeah, Ron, that's what someone told me. They're like, get a gecko, you won't have no bug problem anymore. And I guess that's still appropriate. Who knows? If you got a bug problem, if any people buy a gecko, although they do bark. At least mine did. It makes these little noises like, burp, burp, you know, like, all right, I'd rather look at that than hear that than, then look at roaches. That was nasty. You know, that one time I had them, I mean, it's not a sign of cleanliness because it wasn't a building. It was in a rent-controlled building in Queens, and everyone had them. And the property manager would not spray everyone at one time. You know, if they spray like a whole floor at the same time or like the whole frickin' building in a weekend, they could contain that. But what they would do is they'd have a system where you used to have to go down to the office. And, you know, I was like, my first apartment, I was 16 when I got my first apartment. I moved out like extraordinarily early by today's standards. Now people stay home till they're 30. You had to go down, you know, knock on the management's door and be like, yo, can you give me a spray? And, you know, they tell you, yeah, in a week. So they would just chase him around. So then this guy, when yours ran over to the guy next door, he'd spray it, they'd come back. Yeah, it was, you know, it was weird. I didn't want to have people over, and ugh, that was nasty. Let's see, what else? Yeah, my house is, yeah, I guess that's an old person thing too. Well, I don't know. My house is very sparse. Like in here, like on the other side of the cameras, there's a bit of disorganization. I got boxes stacked up over there, and I just don't have a lot of storage. So I kind of use what you can't see on camera as storage, but for the most part, I like things kind of sparse looking. I don't have like, except for Christmas, I don't have like a lot of knickknacks and, you know, like statues and stuff. I like it very clean and fine lines, kind of Scandinavian, you know. So, and it makes it easier to clean because with the amount of time and hours that I put in on everything that I do, I don't have a whole lot to clean, and I generally clean on Sundays. Speaking of which, we'll do a private live stream on Sundays, and it takes me like 4 hours. I clean both bathrooms, I clean the kitchen, I mop the floors, you know, I do all the stuffs, and it takes about 4 hours every Sunday. But yeah, I keep it pretty clean, ain't gonna lie. Let me go back and look at some more. All right, let's see. Soylent Green, what? Hello, Bror and everyone, and plans to stay at FB. Do I have any plans to stay at the? I don't know. They're already inviting some of my quote-unquote colleagues because they don't want me over there. I will be there for opening night, but I'm sure they don't want me, you know, rummaging around and pointing all this shit out, you know, because whatever. But it is what it is. We'll be there for opening. Looks beautiful. That pool is kind of awesome. I haven't read whether it's heated, but they are opening December 13th. So, you know, it would be nice. What was my most memorable vacation? That is an interesting one. What was my most memorable vacation? I'll be totally honest, I haven't taken a whole lot of straight up vacations. Oh, let me take a week off. I've worked I've worked since I was like 14, and I take busman's vacations, which for those of you who aren't familiar with the term is I try to mix business and pleasure. If I go somewhere, I might extend the stay or plan it out. That way I can do things like last week in California. That's why my goal is to just tour the earth one day in my motor coach. No work, no nothing, and just that'll be my form of retirement to make up for all that time. But honestly, I'm not really a vacation person. Oh, let me plan to take off a week because I've always had knives hanging over my head. There's always been something to do, always a project that needed to be completed, always a plan that needed to be put together. There's always paperwork that needed to be signed. There was just always something that I just couldn't turn off that part of my life. And I enjoy business. I get a thrill out of business, to be perfectly honest. So that's my thing. So I have incorporated little things like that. Although I have done some pretty significant hunting trips. For those of you who aren't into it, so be it. Is what it is. I used to go on, I've done everything but Africa. And a couple of my friends, when they had the opportunity to go, I was invited. I was just like, nah, malaria, I mean, it's not like Teddy Roosevelt days, but I wasn't into that level of roughing it, on a different continent and whatever. And again, they went for like 3 weeks. No way I can get off for 3 weeks, so it is what it is. Had some amazing adventures in South Dakota on those trips, Montana, camped and hunted at the top of the Continental Divide outside of Butte, Montana. Just had some amazing adventures when it comes to that. I would say, one of the most memorable things is what I was saying last week, finding that Ronald Reagan Ranch Center. That made that whole trip to California. I was just absolutely enthralled. I'm going to cut that into a separate video to show everyone, but that'll be something I always remember. Going to Central America, I've done that. I've been to Scandinavia. I've been to Denmark, Norway, and Sweden. 2 out of those 3 trips were business related also. So, it's not like I just chilled out or whatever, but I do want to go to Iceland, but I'm saving it up, I'm saving it up. You think it will be political repercussions? Let's see. Do I think there will be political repercussions over the F1 fiasco in town and county? Third try for Joe. Did I miss the rest of his? I saw it now. Let's see. I don't think so. I think this town just thinks its shit doesn't stink. So even if it's an absolute failure, even if it ends up costing money, even if some car flies off the track and goes into the crowd, this town will still pat itself on the back and say what a great job it did. That's just the nature of this town. They'll never admit, hey, we might have screwed the pooch on that one. They'll never admit it. There's no accountability. There's no accountability whatsoever. We've given away probably well over $1 billion to various companies who promised the world and, we're going to have 50 new jobs and all this stuff. And this town's just like, all right, you don't have to pay property tax or electric or anything. Just come here for free. That way we can have 50 jobs. And, it all backfires. Faraday comes to mind, a horse track, all these various deals with the train that's supposed to go to California. The city gets hosed on it time and time again. It's going to get hosed on the A's, But, F1 might actually end up being a break even for this town. But they'll consider it a win. You see the inflated numbers all the time. Like New Year's Eve, they'll be like, there's 400 and 38,212 people coming to town. No, there's not. No, there's not. They just pull these numbers out of their asses to make it seem, more glorious than it is. But anyone who was in town, and we were on the strip live, there was not 430,000 people in town. I know what that looks like. Every holiday they say that, another 700,000 are coming on Friday. And, this town's just so, it's so full of itself. Let's see. Middle age isn't old yet. Do I have a bucket list? Yeah, and I'm middle aged, and a spring chicken ain't no old dude. So yeah, middle age is good. It's right where I want to be. Let's see. Do I have a bucket list? Yeah, one of them is, I just kind of went over that. One of them is to do an Amtrak thing. One of them is to get a motor coach. The other one is I would love to take up scuba diving, and I want to take up a musical instrument. Don't want one, but I've never had the time nor the patience. I would like to do that. I would like to scuba dive, and I would like to jump out of a couple of planes. The only problem I have with that is I don't want to do the whole pitcher catcher routine, the tandem, and that's what you have to do. It just ain't for me. So, unless it's a chick, if I can find a female instructor, whatever, that's a whole different story. But I haven't found one yet. So yeah, but there's some other things that I want to do. Can't really think of them offhand, but they're more like adventure based, Like I want to get a pontoon boat. If I had my way, I would pull a big pontoon boat behind the motor coach and a motorcycle, and then I'd be set, because I just love being on lakes. The ocean, it doesn't really thrill me all that much. The beach is okay. We had fun at the beach last time, except for the tar. But the ocean could be an asshole sometimes, This is like big things. They eat you and whatnot. I don't know. Lakes are cool. I like lakes. Don't get me wrong. Only you can be you. What is the best time to visit Iceland? Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know that question. It wasn't directed at me. I want to know, too. Let's see. Yeah, and I do want to go to Iceland, because that would be the closest to my people that you can possibly get. Those people were, true descendants of Vikings. Yeah, absolutely. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Keep sending me some more questions. Your hairdresser went to Iceland for their honeymoon and loved it. Yeah, Iceland is pretty awesome. Do I like to hike? Only if there's a purpose. I only like doing things that have an end result. I don't, and I'm not knocking anyone who does or thinks different than me. This is, you're asking me questions, I'm going to give you the answers. I don't like doing things that don't have an end result. Like doing something for the sake thereof. Like I will hike miles to get somewhere or to do something. But I won't hike miles because it's fun to hike. To me, certain activities are strictly a means to an end. Like I will go to the beach if I'm doing a live stream. I will go to the beach if I'm going to go do some fishing. I will go to the beach if they're filming an episode of Baywatch. That's more me. I'm not the type of, my personality is such that I just don't do things for the hell of it or for the sake thereof. I'm a person who's very intentional. That would be the best way to describe me if you haven't figured it out. I do everything with intention, and that might be something that people need to learn too, learn how to do things with intention. And that would eliminate a lot of the fluff in people's lives. You don't have to be like me. I do everything with intention. Almost everything. But having intention is important, like it will change your life. Just think about it. Drive with intention, walk with intention, work with intention, vacation with intention, hike with intention, sing with intention, love with intention, knock boots with intention. Do all the stuffs with intention, not attention, intention. You intend to do this. And when you start thinking in terms of I intend to do this, you'll find your quality of life improve a bit. You'll find more successes than failures. And your failures, there's nothing wrong with failing. There's nothing wrong with failing. Failing does not make you a failure. But if you do things with intention, generally, if there is a failure coming, it'll happen sooner before there's a lot of consequences to it. Befriend people with intention. Just do things with intention, and it sort of accelerates the quality and quantity of your life. So I've always intended, I have intention. When I walk, I'm on a mission. I'm just not like, I'm not floundering. I'm not lollygagging. I'm not waffling. I'm not floundering. There's so many words for that. And you see a lot of people do that. And then they wake up and suddenly, they're too old to even do a bucket list because they've just spent their whole life, the work-life balance. People have used that to excuse their procrastination. You feel me out there? Did someone I just spoke to, someone out there just needed to hear that. Maybe I needed to hear it. I don't know. But that whole work-life balance thing, that's just rationalizing your procrastination. Get down to business, or get down to loving. You can love with intention too. You can do all the stuffs in life with intention. Let me refire up my chat here. Did you ever have a photo shoot with Wonder Hussy? I don't think so. I don't believe so. I know that, she always pops up in, not the news feed on my phones. There's an iPad sitting here, but my news feed that's tied into my my YouTube account where this is happening. She pops up there once, and she posted a video, something about, I got ripped off by a bunch of photographers or something like that. And I watched it for 2 minutes, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. Okay. I never really watched her. No, I'd remember her, but she did that one about, someone sent it to me. I don't know why I needed to know, but it was about not shaving your armpits. And I was just like, check, please. So yeah, I would have remembered if I photographed any woman who had a squirrel in a headlock. I would have remembered that. Fly fishing in Belize. That sounds fun. You were raised weird. Like if you try and fail, don't try it again. I was raised weird. Like if you try and fail, don't try again. There's pros and cons to that. That's an interesting comment. There's get back up. If the horse throws you, get back up on that horse and try again. There's other things that, if you do fail at them, there's other people if they fail at anything, they'll just never try it again. I think there's got to be a balance between the two. I genuinely do. If you don't take calculated risks, I always say, when you're doing things with intention, like we were just speaking on, always try to lean on things that you have natural aptitude or naturally gifted at, and you'll have far less failures. If you're already good at something, and you have to be honest with yourself, I'm a great photographer, hypothetically, but I just suck as a business person. And that's the downfall of like 90% of photographers, 90% of artists. They're good at what they do, but they suck at business. You know, they give their work away for free, and oh, it's going to be so great if you do this mural in my dentist office. So many people are going to see, and not one of them's going to call you, you dumbass. Don't work for free. I digress. There's got to be a balance. But if you're honest with yourself and you say, hey, you know, I'm not too good at business, find someone who is. You know, there's always a way to make something work if you really want to. But if you just give up after every single failure, there was a meme, I'll find it, posted in the Broad Nation Facebook group, of a guy, he's underground, it's like a cartoon, and on one side you see the tunnel that he made, and he's in the end of it, and then on this side of the tunnel, there's like 10,000 diamonds, and there's like this much dirt in between where the diamonds are and where he dug. And he's picking away, and then he's just like, F it. And he tosses the pickaxe over his shoulder and he gives up. Da 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 da. And all he had to do, one more swing, and he would have hit pay dirt, you know? And I've never forgotten that. You know, that was like it's old. But that always stuck with me, and that's always been my mentality. You know, success is always one more step past the point that you thought, you know, you wanted to give up. So if you're constantly in the habit of saying, I'm going to try it, I failed, let me try something else. I tried it, I failed, let me try something else. I tried it, I failed, let me try something else. What are you actually going to accomplish in life, you know? Yeah, at some point, you have to commit. And stop waiting for your stars to get in alignment. That's another one. Well, I'm waiting for the perfect opportunity. Another procrastination technique. Makes me crazy. All right, let's get back over there. Have you ever had a scorpion in your house or close to get? No. That's weird. I hear about people in Vegas all the time talking about their scorpion problems and the scorpions over here and scorpions over there. And I got the UV. I mean, scorpions always have this thing. Shout out, Olight. I mean, it's actually always on the UV setting, too. Am I looking blue? Am I blue for you? Though scorpions glow if you hit them with the blue. I've never seen one. I've never even seen one in real life. I've never seen one in Vegas, but I see them people complaining about them all the time. I've yet to see one around my house, and I'm yet to see one in my house. Thankfully, I don't want to go and see one. BC says, any more interesting stories from my youth? Thank you for those 2 pounds of bananas. I appreciate that very much. I do have tons more. I won't get into one now, but being that you super chatted that, I promise on the next walking live stream, I'll dive into a story from my youth. All right? Thank you, BC. Jim Wolf says, Bror Fredrik, did you ever own a motorcycle? Yes, I've owned 2. Loved them both. The first one was a KZ 750. It was a cow. Boarded out to an 810, put the headers on it, lightened it. It was just a freaking beast, you know, put the carbs, the whole 9 yards. That one almost killed myself on. Yeah, what up? I hit on that one. I broke, I had a front stabilizer, you know, it's into Japanese bikes, you know. Had a front stabilizer on it, hit a 2-liter bottle, doing about 85, 90, passing a bus, a city bus. This was in Queens also, which brought me up. The back tire hit it, thrusted the bike back down. And it wasn't a completely full one, but it was just enough it tossed it down. When it tossed down, because I was like this, it broke the stabilizer. And then the front wheel was doing this. And I let it go. I just went. because you don't go down with the ship if you're a bike rider out there. And I watched it. I was sliding on my back and on my ass. Zwomp. And I watched it kiss a tree. It went up a curb and wrapped itself, hit right on the seat and wrapped itself, or it was like a horseshoe, wrapped itself around a tree and went thunk. And the bus driver was like laughing at me because I was trying to get around him. He was being a dick. He was just like, ah. My other one was a GSXR 1100 stock. Those things were absolute animals because they were so light. The horsepower to weight ratio was ridiculous. I bored that out to a 1300. I had like 12.5 to 1 compression on there. I just went bonkers with that. That bike was ridiculously fast. I mean, that bike, I took it out to Freeport Racetrack on Long Island. I did 212 on that without any hesitation. I still had RPMs left over, and that thing was a beast. I took a friend, they sold that bike with an auxiliary passenger seat that you put on and kind of snapped on afterwards. And I was just like, I never wanted a passenger on there, not even a chick, because the way those bikes are, and the chick's like this much higher. But my friend's like, hey, man, take me for a ride, blah, blah, blah. I'm thinking about getting into the whole thing. And I'm just like, all right, cool. I'll take you for a ride. So we're cruising. We're on Sunrise Highway, coming out of Rockville Center. And there's this like hairpin turn. You got to go off, on, back around. It's a weird hairpin turn. And I leaned the bike. I mean, this was a pedal scraper. I leaned the bike. And he sat up. He got nervous. And I was just like, dude, just do everything that I do. If I lean, you lean. I mean, the whole bit. Because the passenger's over the rear tire. It has that gyroscopic effect. And I leaned. And we weren't going that fast. We're doing like 45, maybe 50. I leaned. He started leaning. And then he sat up. He got nervous. And that just flattened the bike out. And again, we did that. And that was bad. I broke my collarbone. You can probably still see. Can you still see the scar on my throat? It's somewhere around here. You see that white patch right there? That was my collarbone. It was a compound fracture, punctured my skin, and it stuck me in my neck. It was like, ready to die and whatnot. And he was all sorts of messed up. And he ended up suing me. Bastard. And then finally we kind of talked it out. And he's like, well, it's really my family and da-da-da-da. And he didn't get as messed up as I did. He did, however, he had his visor up because I'm a big proponent of, the little turtle hats. No, I mean, full visor, the whole bit, always keeping it down. He had his up. So when he hit the curb, we both hit the curb. The bike hit the curb. The bike survived after that, but his visor shattered, and he had a couple pieces of plastic in his face. Shit happens. I had my collarbone, my shoulder was like ging, and my collarbone almost cut my own throat, I'm like this. So I was a little worse off, bro. And after, they filed the papers and all this, they won $1 million. And I'm just like, good luck with that. I had the insurance to cover it, and my insurance company was like, good luck with that, Is what it is. We talked it out, ended up not going down. He apologized. He was like, yeah, I got caught up in the emotion of the thing, and yeah, we're just bros. And after that, I was just like, I never seen that boy again. But yeah, I had 2 bikes. That was a long story for telling you I had 2 bikes. And the GSXR, I could post a picture of that too. That was black and red. That bike had so much compression that if you let off the throttle too quickly, it would toss you over the handlebars. That thing was a beast. What's the fastest motorcycle in the world? I don't know. I mean, other than drag bikes, which, obviously are purpose built for drag racing, I've seen some extraordinarily fast Hayabusas. The Hayabusa twin turbo that's been bored out, lightened, and all the rest of that. They're fast. They are stupid fast. My bike was fast. I'd say I could have probably got it up to 220 because I had just enough RPMs, but it took a little bit to get there. I was grinding one out, but them Hayabusas could probably hit those in like fourth gear. Hayabusa's bad. Broken collarbones suck. Any shoulder injuries suck. Yeah, right, I-61, hell of a freaking friend. I was just like, dude, I was like, I should be kicking your ass, bro. You sat up in a turn, and laid the bike down. Did I ever use a Hasselblad? Yes, I have. I have indeed used a Hasselblad. Not the new digital ones, but the old film ones. Do I miss anything about living on the East Coast? Abso-freaking-lutely. I miss everything. Be honest, I miss everything about living on the East Coast. I miss the change of seasons, the 4 seasons. I miss the food. I don't care we have wonderful restaurants here in Las Vegas. We have the Bavettes, and now Peter Luger's coming, but he's saying he's not bringing his menu and all this other type of stuff. But pound for pound, just going out and wanting to eat some lasagna and a steak or this or that. There's so many nice, like mom and pop restaurants that are relatively affordable that aren't going to beat you over the head for like $200-300 a person in New York. But at the same time, being that it's so ethnically diverse, you feel like going out and having some meat patties. You ride over into Queens, you go into Jamaica, have you some meat patties, you feel like having some Cuban food, you go over here, you want some Puerto Rican food, you go over there, you want the Chinese food, you want Mandarin, you want Cantonese. There's just everything. The sheer variety of things you could have from all over the world within like a 5-mile radius is absolutely ridiculous. Want to try some Ethiopian? Boom. You can say the same thing here. Not quite the same. Not quite the same mom and pop vibe. Everyone wants to be freaking Gordon Ramsay in this town. They never will be. I miss the weather. I miss the people. I genuinely miss the people. As much as they are assholes, people from the Northeast, specifically New York, we're kind of cut from the same cloth, and it doesn't matter your skin tone, your ethnicity. We all just kind of think the same. That's why 45 used to get all the shit that he did, because he was a New Yorker, and New Yorkers tend to like understand each other. We don't take shit personally. We do and we don't. We'll fight about everything. Everything is worth fighting for, but at the same time, there's a certain etiquette of conduct in New York that I have never encountered anywhere else. Like in New York, you wouldn't walk across someone's grass. Here, people walk across my grass. You wouldn't park in someone else's spot. There's just certain etiquette, you don't like chat up someone's wife or girlfriend because you could just expect a knuckle sandwich. Ever since I left New York, it's just like, it's a free-for-all. The rest of the country outside of New York, in my opinion, tends to be more of a free-for-all, where, in New York, there was an etiquette because you didn't want to get in trouble, because trouble will find you really easy, in the New York area. So everyone kind of, like there was things like you don't make eye contact too long because someone would be like, yo, what are you writing a fucking book about me? I've said that about 50 times. See someone stands like, yo, what are you writing a fucking book? What's your problem? You'll get called out on your dumbass behavior. I don't know about now, but you'd get called out on your dumbass behavior very, very fast from a very, very young age. So there was a certain decorum and etiquette about doing things that I have not encountered anywhere else. getting back to 45, one of his problems is he just never learned when not to pick a fight. There's certain times you just don't. It's just not worth it, you know? So, like, a more ignorant New Yorker will pick every fight. The parking spot, looking too long, da-da-da-da. You know, I remember picking up a salami. This dude was talking to the girl I was with. We went to the, you know, getting a salami cut. It wasn't a butcher. It was in a supermarket, but there was cutting a salami, there was cutting of this, a gabagol, the whole bit. And he's talking to her. I'm looking at the case. I'm just like, you know, I'm looking for some provolone, you know, whatever. And he wasn't like hitting on her. He wasn't just like, you know, yo, babe, you know, drop the zero, be with the hero or nothing. You know, she already knew she was with the hero. But he was engaging her in the conversation instead of me. I walked up, she's on my arm, we go in there together, and we're picking up, you know, a gabagol and da-da-da-da. All right, good. But she's standing there, and he's engaging her in conversation. He's like, oh, would you like to, you know, sample the new, you know, boar's head, whatever, and, you know, da-da-da-da-da. And she's looking at me like, you know, because that's not appropriate. Outside of New York, that'd be considered normal. But in New York, that'd be like, yo, I came here. I'm the one with the money. You freaking want to talk to someone, you talk to me. You don't talk to her. That's just the way New York used to operate. Maybe it still does. Who knows? You know? So he kept going. He wasn't getting the message, you know? So I picked up a hard salami that was in the front, and I freaking whaled him with it. I was just like, bonk. You know? And he was hit him upside the head with a salami. Bet he never did that again. I don't know why I just thought of that, but I did. You know, some people are Neanderthals, some people aren't. Anyway, you missed Greenpoint. Well, running for political is a dirty game. Yeah. But, you know, if 45 just learned, like, to pick the fight, you know, a little less, you know, you learn those things later. You don't have to pick a fight over everything. But in New York, people, I mean, you do. You do. You should defend your space and the people around you and the people you love and your property and your morals and your ethics and your standards. You should defend that. But when you're in charge of the free world, maybe you don't want to fight with every Tom, Dick, and Harry, you know? Just be like, you know, who's got the bigger D, you know? Be like, you know, I'm the president. I don't got to fight with these people. He just never learned that. But I wish he did. That's that New York mentality. Yeah, Dante, you know what I'm saying? There's a decorum about being a New Yorker, you know? Like, as much as people say, oh, New Yorkers are so rude, it's actually not the case. I'm at the bodega. You know, I'm waiting my turn in line, and I go to the bodega because, you know, I had to get some milk. I'm paying freaking $8 for a gallon of milk because I don't want to go to Walmart for $3. All right. So I'm in line like a chudrol. I'm getting all back in my New York state of mind. So I'm in line like some chudrol, and I'm just standing there. You know, I'm effing with my phone and whatnot. And this dude just cuts the line. He was like 2 in front of me. He just cuts the line. You know, and he tosses like $10 on the counter, and he's just like, da-da-da-da-da, you know, the $10. And I'm just like, that don't happen in New York, because someone will take that $10, grab you by the shirt, and stick it in your mouth, and be like, get in the back of the freaking line, you know? What is this? You know? Here, free-for-all. So you can't get mad at everything. I have it on good authority the fish are running this week. Oh, that's good. I like that. In a New York state of mind. that was kind of... And I have a hard time, speaking with Nancy on the salami story, I have a hard time. I am still to this day extraordinarily protective. I mean, I'm not jealous because, my mentality is who the hell's better than me, So it's not a jealousy thing. No offense out there. It's just the way I like to walk down this side of the street like I own it and look at that side like I want to buy it. That breeds success, and you should too. So it's not a jealousy thing, but I am protective. I am protective of the people around me, the people I love, the people I care about, especially women. I tend to have that protective instinct, and again, that's like a New York type of thing. I mean, it's everything. It should be a manly type of thing, just be that level of protective. Protect pets, protect animals, protect children, protect those who, might have handicaps or issues and whatnot. I get extraordinarily protective over certain things, But this guy was chatting up, you know what? I think her name was Nancy too. That's a long time ago. But then again, you know what? Even though I ended up clocking him with a salami, we ended up being friends. Well, I wouldn't say friends, but we ended up like, he was like, I learned, he learned. And then we ended up talking. Brian, what's you on that? Yep. Decorum, I think, like, I can reference things in the past like that. It might be completely different by now. It might be utterly different. I don't know. But, decorum and etiquette is kind of shot in the ass now, unfortunately. You know why? Because there's no threat of being punched square in your face. I think I can boil it down to that. There's a whole generation, or maybe two, or maybe three at this point, that has never been punched square in their face. I mean, I'm not advocating violence. I try to keep the violence out or whatnot. I'd rather be, how does the saying go? I'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. That's my mentality. Being a warrior in a garden. I want to just do my thing. But I don't want to be a gardener in a war. But I think certain people, I mean, I grew up, does it look like I got punched in the face a few times? You think? It just is what it is. But you learn as a young man, when people were still allowed to knuckle up a little bit, that you ain't the baddest dude in the school. You ain't the toughest guy. I don't care how big you are. I don't care this. I don't care who your dad is. I don't care how much you're lifting. Someone could come along and kick your ass. But there's like an entire generation out there who've never been punched square in their face. And that leads to an overinflated, like the same way women have an overinflated sense of self these days because of social media, because all these simp dudes are pressing like, and oh baby, you're fire, and you got 10 guys in the DM, and this guy's, oh, you're fire, good morning, beautiful, and they're getting all this false, phony validation from simpy dudes. It's the same thing. The guy's equivalent of that is never being punched square in the face. Ever. Oh, I'm going to call the cops, I remember when there was a change back in the youth when, like people would pull out a, burner and whatnot and be like, I ain't fighting. But that was that, like if you were that guy, you picked up a stick or a garbage can lid, everyone else, even your own friends would pound on you. They'd be like, that ain't freaking manly. Go duke it out. You started it, Go duke it out. And if you get your ass kicked, you get your ass kicked. It just is what it is. It was just, it's part of growing up, but now there's like generations that never got punched square in their face and they're just walking around, like they're so badass. And No one probably will ever punch them in the face, and they'll continue to think they're badass, but they're technically not. You know, they're not humble. You know, if you never get punched in your face, you're not humble. And being humble is a good quality. I might be a little arrogant, you know, about certain things. I would call it confidence. But I've also been punched in the face quite a few times, and life has humbled me on many levels, including my own freaking collarbone trying to kill me, you know? So, humbling is a good thing. It kind of sets you right. It creates that humbling effect of being punched in the face, keeps you from walking on people's lawns, keeps you from cutting lines, keeps you from, you know, being all full of yourself, because you kind of watch your P's and Q's, and you sort of, you go with the etiquette and whatnot, you know? I don't know, whatever. But I'm not advocating violence. But some people do need to be punched in the face. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, I mean, I couldn't believe that guy was cut. Now, there are some times where, you know, I peek. Matter of fact, it was at the same bodega. This bodega, someone got whacked in there like 2 or 3 months ago. I rolled up there for my milk at like 2 a.m. and they had like the tape around there and forensics. I was just like, damn. But they still let me go in and get my milk. So I'm just like, what up? Yeah, some other guy was being obnoxious in the store. Being like totally freaking obnoxious. Just standing there. He wasn't buying nothing. He was asking people for money and whatnot. You know, maybe he was less fortunate, but how he was doing it was kind of strong-army, you know? It was like, you gotta have money, and, you know, I just seen you pay. You got a couple bucks for me. He was like copping that type of attitude. You know, the strong arm thing. And I was the only person who said anything. You know, they were all just like, you know, I could see people hiding their cash and pulling out a card so they could say, oh, I just use a card, you know? Because they don't want to get punched in the face because they never have, you know? And I was just like, I confronted him. I told him to leave. And he left, you know? And he left. And everyone was like, you know, for the yeah, let's clap for the toxic male. You know, like my toxicity paid off because everyone else was like cowering, hiding behind their women and whatnot. You know, the people behind the counter were just like, bro, cool. You know, to this day, they're just like, yo, what up? But yeah, everyone else was cowering. And then they were just like, yay. Black, white, Chinese, they were all like, yay. You know, someone had to do something. That'll be me. Whatever. All right, let's see what else we got going on here. Yeah, punch in the face is freaking humbling. It is wise to be humble. What is the favorite muscle car you've owned in the past, and what would you buy now? My favorite in the past, I've had a few. I've had a Pontiac Grand Prix with I think there was a 440 Rocket. I think that thing was just cool with the cockpit and da-da-da. That was nice. I had a box Chevy Nova. That was awesome. Didn't have a huge engine in it, but that car just did not have a lot of weight to it. I think it had a 283, you know, put the cravers on it, the whole bit. I had I don't know if you'd call it, this is more modern, but I had a full-blown 6-liter Trans Am, Smokey and the Bandit style with the T-tops. I had them pull the decal off, and they hand-painted the eagle on the front. That was a freaking beast. Couldn't even run it in first gear. There was no point. It was just like, you know, you were already in second. So I used to run it in second. What else did I have? I had 2 Z28s that were pretty freaking fast, both 350s, headers, the whole bit. So I've had some beastie cars. What I would get, you know, one of them, the Avante. I love me the Studebaker Avante, and I would love to get a Superbird. Or a Charger in general from that same era, that Mopar era, that era, like the Super Bs, the Supercharger. But that Superbird. One of my neighbors had one in purple with the white stripes, with the big freaking fin in the back, and the headlamps and the side scoops and everything. I thought that was badass. So if I was gonna get something again like that, yeah, an old like James Bond, Aston Martin, or a Superbird, or an Avante. So yeah, 455. Yeah, so I think it was a 455. It was like the upgrade. It was supposed to have like a 361 or one of their weird freaking engines that GM was putting in them for a while, but that had the upgraded rocket engine. That car was just boss. I bought that car for like, they were just like, it was one of my neighbors, and that thing sat and it sat and it sat. I didn't buy it new. It was like a 1972, you know. I bought it in like 92, and it just sat forever. And they used to drive it, but then it just started sitting. And one day, I see a tow truck pulling up to these people, and they're starting to hook this up. And I'm like, what are you doing with the car? It was like 2 houses down. I'm like, what are you doing with this car there? And they're like, oh, I'm taking it to the junkyard. They're taking it to the junkyard. I'm like, you're junking the thing? They're like, yeah, it's been sitting a couple years. It's old, but it was in nice condition. Didn't run. They said it didn't run. I was like, how much they giving it for you? They're like, they give me $100 and they're towing it. I was like, I'll give you $100. No, $60. I said, I'll give you $60 and I'll just push it next door into my driveway. That's what it did. Made the tow driver, I think I duped him a couple bucks for his effort. I gave her money, and all I had to do was change the battery and the starter on that Grand Prix, and that thing was a beast. It had speakers. It was way ahead of its time. Speakers in the headrest, the full wraparound console, like the Batmobile, and the passenger was over there. It had the swivel seats and everything. It was freaking boss. It was boss. The first car was a 72 Nova. 455 HO. We had to spell where. I drive a 96 Hyundai Accent, the only one in town. Nothing wrong with that. The only car I wish I had back. A Toyota MR2. Yeah, those are kind of cool. I tell you the stories about my Fiero. That was one of my favorite cars ever, a freaking Fiero. And I gave it to a friend of mine, like really, really cheap, and he freaking blew it up in the snow, like rocking it back and forth. It was a manual, and he just wrecked the transmission. Those cars are worth like $30K right now. An MR2. I had a Triumph once. Triumphs were fun. You had a 59 Studebaker Silver Hawk. Wow, that's boss. I dig that. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see, Angel D. Your New York style and my South Philly style were the same. I'm not coming to Vegas now in December, but I'm looking forward to having call. I'm looking forward to it too. That would be nice. You ran into. All right, I gotta refire up this chat. I don't think it's being all sorts of accurate here. GGNYC. We're talking New York stories here. You can drop one. A 77 Plymouth Fury Sport Fury. I learned how to drive in one of those giant freaking boats of a car. I learned how to. It was like an old police cruiser, and I learned how to drive in that in Brooklyn. That thing was a boat. That was a boat. A Dodge Coronet. Seeing you came to Cali, too bad. Yeah, it was kind of a business trip, but I had fun in California. I definitely had fun. Got covered in tar at one of your beaches. I went to I cut the video. All right. You tell me if it was weird or not, because I'm debating whether to hit the ask for a review button. I cut the pictures from my beach video where I showed my feet and my legs covered with tar. I cut that into a small, like, 10-minute video because I thought it was funny. It was funny, and I want to remember that for all posterity. I figured, maybe you guys want to see it again. They flagged that as being inappropriate for advertisers. I was going to put it up on Sunday. YT was just like, this is inappropriate for advertisers. You will get, they didn't demonetize it because it's not making money, but they're just like, I didn't even put it up yet. So somehow their algorithm thinks that pictures of my tar-covered feet are inappropriate for advertisers. But I did say I was making a joke. See, that's where AI is going to be effed up in the future. I'll admit, I did say things like, oh, that's a sexy picture of my feet if anyone wants to buy it for $2,000. But that's just me being me. I like joking around. I like satire. I like, clowning like that. I wasn't offering them per se. But the algorithm was like, what? It doesn't even tell you what you did wrong. It just said, inappropriate for all advertisement. We'll let you put it up if you want, but you ain't making no money off it. But I thought that was a funny video. I cracked a couple jokes about my feet. Meanwhile, you got OF people on there, and look up some of the yoga channels that are on YT that show I don't know what I can say, what I can't say. Female yoga channels. All right, ready for this position? You can smell the ocean. And they're all over the place. And they're complaining about it. They have a problem with me saying, someone wants to send me, $5K for my... That's humor. But AI obviously doesn't get humor. So I'm debating whether to ask for a human review, but it's going to go to some dude in Pakistan, and he might be just like, I don't like this Bror Fredrik, and start looking at the rest of my shit. I don't know. But they never tell you what you do wrong. Uh-oh. 10 Bananagrams from Angie. And of course, super chatted questions will get answered one way or the other, even if we have to stay here till midnight. What is the best thing that happened to me today? I love that question. What is the best thing that happened to me today? About this. I got to think about this. One minor thing that happened good to me today. My neighbor, I had my air conditioning fixed. Their air conditioning, which is, I can kind of hear it. For the past week, it's been like, it's been making the most god-awful noise ever. I thought you'd hear it, during the live stream and whatnot. It's been making a freaking racket. And those people are never home. And I never, ever, ever, ever talk to them. I don't know their names. I don't know nothing about them. So I didn't want to knock on the door and be like, yo, your air conditioner's out of control. Fix that shit, because I know how expensive that is, Today, when I was out an hour and a half ago and I came back in, that's why I know it's 85 degrees, 84 degrees. They had this people out there fixing it. They got the whole shit apart. So I was just like, oh, thank God, because that was annoying. A high-pitched squeal, and just that was one of the. I don't know if that was the best thing that happened today. Let me think. Let me cogitate on the best. Was that the best? That would be a rather boring day if that was the best thing. But see, that goes back to am I getting, being that I'm older, am I doing old people shit? Which I'm not that old. Yeah, I guess being annoyed by that might qualify, but it was pretty freaking obnoxious. What else happened today? Oh, I tried a brand new program. This I'm gonna tie this into something that might happen on Saturday. I tried a brand new. There's a lot of different programs, and one that I participated in the development for bringing remote guests on. which that's going to start happening soon. Someone tap on the glass and remind me to talk about remote guests. I'm going to briefly touch on it now. Oh, we got time. It's only 22 after 5. So I tried a different software today because I found it to be more agnostic when it comes to various devices. Works on Mac, works on PC, works on Android, works on iPhone for remote calling in. So basically, I send you a link. Inside that link, and things you can't read, I could actually code it, like let them pump 1080p, 30 frames per minute at 3.5 megabits, and basically so that I send you that link. Once you click on it, the only thing you have to do is input your name and hit go, and it shows up right on the screen like pow. Like, wait, hold on. I'll show you. We's almost ready. Bum, 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 bum. Let me show you right now. There we go. Bror Fredrik coming at you. See? Ain't that boss? Oh, 2 Bror Fredriks? Oh, that 2 Bror Fredriks? No way. So yeah, that's what I was working on today. Obviously, the one on the other side is going to be the guest. I could do like almost 10 guests if I wanted to. Why would I even want to do that? But I am going to start bringing some people on, and finding that software and working on it with the developer to make it that agnostic and that easy, without getting into all the bullshit. Yeah, that was good. I tested it all day today. It worked out great. I'm going to do some more testing tonight from outside of my network, and that's going to bring a whole new dimension of Bror Fredrik Live, being able to bring people in, and I am freaking psyched about it. I mean, I'm not looking to be the next Joe Rogan or nothing like that, but I think bringing other people on and just bantering back and forth is going to be a blast. The only downside is either I got to get, they sell so few wired earbuds, or I got to do this deal. Wow, that music's a little loud. Just know, I got to do this deal, and because that way I can hear the other person. That's just such a crappy look, right? Doesn't that blow? Be honest, it blows, right? So I have to find a wired set of earbuds too, because those are studio monitors. That's why they're so big. But I think that's going to add a whole new dimension to the show. On Saturday, if all goes well, I'll find out tonight. I'm going to have a security expert and friend of mine come on and discuss what really happened and will continue to happen with the hacks over at MGM and at Caesars. I mean, we're talking expert level stuff. They might be calling them after the show, and it might not be everyone's cup of tea, but it is going to be interesting AF. And I do want to bring people on, as long as it's interesting. So yeah, that was fun. Broad, I saw the not coming part, but I was agreeing to coffee. No, I can't make it. That sounds, okay. I got you. Da, 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 da. Do I look cool with that thing on there? The Dollar General sells those cheap ones in there, because I could just put them in and then just run it behind, so all you'll see is I'm not trying to hide them, but I just don't like that look. You see all the podcasters wearing them. There's a reason for that. If the person is in the same room, speaking on Joe Rogan, if you have people in the studio with you, oh, I just missed something. Would I set up a studio in an RV? No. Because hopefully by the time I do the RV thing, I'd be retired by then. Maybe I'd goof around with it a little, but it ain't gonna be anytime soon, because I got a lot of lost time to make up from the pandemic. But if you're in the studio, you have to put the things on. Otherwise, you just get absolutely ridiculous feedback from the other people, because you just get these feedback loops from the other guests, and it's just obnoxious, and you guys would end up hearing it too. But when someone's remote, and there's ways to mitigate that. You don't necessarily have to do it. You could do virtual cable. I'm not even going to explain it, but it can be done. But guys who just wear them to look cool, like, okay, I like, once in a while I do watch the quartering, like if he's not like hammering the same subjects 18 different times in a day, you know, he's kind of interesting because he does his research, and Tim Pool and them, but you know, he just it's just like part of his wardrobe and whatnot. Like I wear my Mjolnir, he wears a headset, and I don't see any reason. Maybe he's got someone behind him saying, you know, all right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, but he's doing like 15-minute videos. I mean, I don't get it, but I guess some people think it's a look. I don't think it's a look. I don't want to go there, but I will check Dollar General. Jim Wolf says, should be a great stream. BC says it will be, and that'll be the first of many, because I have a friend of mine, we're going to discuss AI. I got other friends who enjoy talking relationship stuff. I have other friends who are, you know, full-blown lovers of all things Las Vegas. I mean, you know, and then, okay, let me hold that in abeyance. What company do I despise the most? We will talk about that in a minute. Most of them. Just cut to the chase. Almost all of them. You know, I don't think any company right now is living up to their expectations. I think they're all just so greedy and just looking to bend you over, you know, so bad right now. So I would say all of them. What company do I most despise? That would be tough, because there's so many contenders for that. Name a company that's really doing the right thing, other than Tish, Hanley, and Olight. Link in the description. Yeah, and I want to have you guys, well, some of you guys, on the show also. I do have criteria for that. I spoke on it last night, but it was like windy and whatnot. You know, you got to be interesting. You know, you do have to just picture, if I wasn't there, could you hold the attention of a few hundred people? You know, but I'll bring it out. But, you know, we got to be able to have a rapport and talk about things and whatnot. And if you have ideas, but it has to be in the venue of what I want to do from the studio. I'm not going to sit and talk about the 5 best places to eat shrimp or whatever, because I can care less. Plenty of other people doing that. But if you want to talk about things, current events, cultural things, I don't know about politics, that's a little divisive, but sometimes cultural and societal things are political. Different things. Healthy debates now and again. I'm into it, as long as everyone's civil. So yeah, so it might be your opportunity to come on. I do want to bring the mods on one by one, and, you know, that way you can put a name with a face and whatever. So yeah, we're going to have fun doing remote studio lives. Like get a little, like one of those earbuds with the coily dangly thing. Yeah, that'd be awesome. Wow, the internet is on point today. I mean, there's almost like no delay between what I'm seeing and what I'm saying. They are on freaking, like, it's like a 3-second delay. Talk about the struggles of starting a YouTube channel. Yeah. And it ain't getting any easier. That would be an interesting conversation to have. Like, the biggest problem, I'm not going to get into detail, but the biggest problem right now is they just never tell you what they're not happy with. They just beat you over the head financially and make you think about it. You know, even though they call it the YT Partner Program, they are anything but. Because whenever there was a problem with some stuff last week, and it was a pretty known issue. I mean, I've seen the issue before. So I didn't use my telephone number. I only try to use that in the most extreme emergencies. Other than that, there's chat available to people who are monetized. And they will deny it. They will be like, nope, it's just you. Maybe you did something wrong. I mean, they will totally put the blame on you, never admit that there's a problem until they have to. And you could even say, come on. We went through this before. It coincided with exactly, when this changed, then this started happening. It's an obvious bug. Can you at least take a report, give me an ETA? And they're like copy paste. I mean, they are so untransparent about everything, but they want to call you a partner, but that's what I'm saying. They're just geared eventually that AI is just gonna, start producing videos and everything. That's why things like, like you could even do it now, Dave. I'll put it out there again now. The best way to support a creator or a channel that you like is, the super chat is great. The gifted memberships are great. Memberships and going outside and supporting via like Cash App and Venmo and Patreon and locals, and there's other ways that you could support the creators that you happen to enjoy, because they're slowly but surely, how would you say, de-emphasizing what they have to do. That's why YT loves live streams, because they feel, even on this button right here, hold on. You see that button there? You see what that says right there? Fan funding. Let me press on fan funding, and that's what pulls up my list of super chat. That way, if I missed one, I can go back real quick and check it out, which is an awesome feature. But the reason why YT loves live streams is because predominantly they're fan funded. They pay the lowest in advertising rates, so they can slip just about anyone in there. They have full control over when they pop up, when they don't, yada, yada, yada. But they're just like, phew, don't have to worry. That's why I could say something here that they might not necessarily agree with, being that it's live, because you're paying for it. It's fan funded. But if I did a separate video, like they let me with no problem. I showed pictures of my feet live, right? No problem. That's up there running fine. Made a separate video out of it. Oh my God. They won't tell me what I said, what they thought, what, like I was just talking about a couple minutes ago. So you never know, but they do want the live streaming. Unfortunately, it is predominantly, you could see what they said right there, fan funding, because this is like, we don't gotta care what he says and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And there's a whole controversy going on with the, with some of the, I'm not even gonna talk about it. I'm scared. Some back-end YT stuff all over, but eventually it's just going to be relegated to live streamers and AI generated videos, or like vlog style stuff, because that's going to be a long time before they can do it. But within the next like 3 to 5 years, there'll be no such thing as like being a creator on YouTube, unless you're already one, number one. Number two, if you're in some type of niche that cannot be replaced, like if they wanted to make a video about the Bellagio fountains, they could press like 3 buttons over at YT headquarters and make a video. It would have a voiceover, and it might even have a person down in the corner saying, and the mouth moving, and maybe even the actual words, but it's all AI generated. Are you going to make a connection with that AI or whatever? No, because, if you're looking for the 5 best places to eat shrimp in Las Vegas, YouTube's going to be able to make that video. I don't have to make it. All my supposed colleagues don't have to make that. They'll be out of business if that's their game. But, the only key to success on YT, I'd say moving forward, is having a personality. If you don't have a personality that attracts people that they cannot replicate on AI, because currently we're placeholders. All content creators on this platform, unless they're really big, and the rules, there's different rules for me and different rules for other people, and there might be different rules for people who have less subscribers than me. But, you can be replaced. So, unless you have a personality that can hold people's attention that they cannot replace with AI, because like I said, content creators are placeholders, just like Uber and Lyft drivers. They are placeholders. That's not a career. I don't even know how you guys are making money once you do your oil changes and your tires and your depreciating car value and all the rest of that. But whatever. Just a placeholder until they come out with automated vehicles. Same thing applies here on YT. Just a placeholder until AI can do what you're doing. If you're making documentaries, if you're, doing like talking head type stuff, unless you have a personality that will draw people in and make you connected the way we are connected, myself and you guys, that's the path forward. But the other problem is without the funding, see, that's the prickly spot. So they'll let you continue to live stream, but if you don't have the support from your audience in order to do it, it becomes almost pointless. So on one hand, they're like, hey, great, we'll support you as a live streamer. And I told you guys when they made the change on me, and that happened about a year ago, where they flat out showed me statistically that I was making all the glorious 4Ks, remember? All the glorious 4Ks. One day, like this was my glorious 4Ks and this was my live streams. It was like this, on the same trajectory. And then one day, the glorious 4Ks were like, and the live streams are like that. It switched. So they basically told me without telling me, this is what we want from you. We want you to continue this live stream thing. But that was back when they wanted to put 4K behind a paywall too. And they still want to put all 4K behind a paywall. So, but they're basically saying, you remember when I started going 5 days a week? It used to be 2, maybe 3, and the rest were all glorious 4Ks and whatnot. They told me, nope. They said, hey, guess what? You're changing. And I did. And I enjoy it. I'm not complaining. I enjoy it, but it requires the fan funding because it's not getting nearly the views. Like I have videos out there that have, my average video in the 4K realm, and you could see the decline of them. I mean, they went from like 50, 60, 70, 80,000 views. Then it was like 10, then it was 5, then it was 3, and they did the same thing on the gaming. My older Buffalo videos, some of them have 20, 30,000 views. If I put one out tomorrow, it'd probably get like 800. So they're just like, hey, Bror Fredrik, you better get to your live streaming because that's what we have you classified as, and that's what we want you to keep doing, without having to say it. They just do it to you. You just feel it, you see it, But the problem with that is if it's not fan funded or supported by the audience, the incentive to do it isn't there because you do get higher CPM when they run ads. I mean, if they run ads for, some teeth whitening shit during a live stream, you think they're paying as much as when on like one of my glorious 4Ks when like Subaru advertises, or Chevron or Expedia? No, they're paying like 10 times what, they're paying on the commercials. And we see the commercials that pop up on live streams, So yeah, it's a fan-funded thing. So that's why you have to have a personality that people feel like, I'd like to see this guy. I hope this is sustainable. This guy's awesome. So, let me help him out a little bit. That's the business model moving forward. So it's interesting. Supra says, do I like the pew-pews? Yes. Yeah, we can have that discussion. I miss doing the glorious 4Ks. Yeah, I've quite a collection. I miss doing them. I mean, but it got to the point where between filming them and editing them and processing them and making thumbnails and uploading, I mean, some of those 4Ks were like 90 gigs and I'm sending them up thinking they're freaking masterpieces and whatnot. So maybe I have like 10 hours invested and it gets like, 1,900 views, which equates to like $40, for 10 hours work. And I just got to the place where I'm just like, it's not a sustainable business model. And I don't know whether that was, YouTube's decision or maybe just audience wise. And I think I have a good feel for my audience. I think they'd rather, the studio, what do we got? 88 people on right now. If I was marching up and down the strip, there'd be like 300. So, obviously, certain people are not down with this. They're more down with that, witnessed by last night. But this will pick up in the studio, this one-on-one thing. But, people have told me, yeah, we'd rather just hear what you got to say than, watch a glorious 4K. So, but I did enjoy doing them, and I still do. It just is what it is. The first time I watched it, yeah, I mean, that 4K activity was what grew the channel. Yeah, it's an extraordinary lengthy process. Yeah, I mean, the Vegas fee, I mean, basically, stripper studio people have to support. Yeah, I mean, eventually people are just going to have to go away. I mean, if they're going to turn everyone into a live streamer and they don't have an audience that's willing to support the effort, people will just go find something else to do. I mean, it's just, it's not sustainable. Let's see. Yeah, well, I know there's still a lot of people who, enjoy watching those 4Ks, but unfortunately, YouTube could care less about, pushing them out. Are they actually, like the Bellagio video, you think they're actually showing them, like, to all 22,700 subscribers and being like, hey, Bror Fredrik, and of course not. I could see it in the statistics. They're showing it to like, 1,800 people. They're showing it to like 10% of my audience because they don't want them. They want my audience watching live. They don't want them watching the other stuff. I mean, that's their business decision. It's not mine. I appreciate you guys watching either way. Yeah, I mean, last night, the only difference between what I did last night and what I'm doing here in the studio is what you're visually seeing. But technically, I talked about subjects last night. We talked about pros and cons. We talked about life. We talked about Teflon killing your junk. We talked about relationships. We talked about the pros and cons of the Marvel universe and what Disney is up to. And, I had the same exact conversations out there. Now you know which way my house faces. As I do in here. Except this is different. It's more one-on-one. We're sitting here, yada, yada, yada. Like if I would have green screen this and put Vegas in the background, I could do that. I could also strictly like do this. Wait. Dun, 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 dun. Let me see. All right, hold on. I haven't done this yet, but it could. Dun, 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 dun. I could do something like... I got so many buttons here. I mean, I could do that. I have hours of video. I could straight up pretend I'm out there walking on the strip and whatnot, you know. But then I'm like, are people here for the visuals, or are they here for me? Or like, okay, this might not be as visually appealing as walking in front of, Treasure Island and whatnot, but it is what it is. I mean, I think guests are going to change it a little bit, and I think I like this level of intimacy. I mean, we don't have the same amount of people. Tom Mack, have I smoked a good cigar lately? Thank you for those 10 Bananaramas. I have not, but I plan on having one tonight. I have a Romeo and Julieta that's on deck, and I am going to smoke that after dinner tonight. I am psyched about it. I could have the sphere running in the background. I mean, there's different things I could have, but, I don't want to, I'm not trying to kill the golden goose of Vegas, because that was the premise of the channel when I started it. If it wasn't for Vegas being in the background, the channel wouldn't have grown. But that was when it was closed and I had the balls to walk around, That was kind of a big deal. I had 5,000 subscribers in like 6 weeks, My channel got monetized like boop, No, I had 1,000 in like 6 weeks. I had 5,000 in 3 months because of the backdrop and because I had the chutzpah to go walk around when they told us not to. No, don't go outside. Hide under your bed. Yada, yada, yada. It's not me. So the channel grew based on that. If I started in here, would it have been the same? I doubt it. But it is what it is. So I got to find the balance. And YouTube is finding the balance too right now. Because I got their asses all sorts of confused. They're like, is he a studio show and a podcaster? Or is he, just another guy strutting up and down the Las Vegas Strip like the other 150 people who are already doing it? And quite frankly, I keep giving them mixed messages, because one day I'll do it, one day I won't, one day I'll do it, one day I won't. It's never planned. Like last night, I had no intention of going down to the Strip whatsoever. It just so happened that I had to be up there anyway for work-related purposes. Didn't have enough time to get back in here. Wasn't appropriately dressed. Not that I got to put on a shirt every time I do this, but yeah, so that wasn't planned. Saturday night is definitely planned. So there is a lot of mixed signals going on. The bread and butter. Gigi says you like doing, I personally like doing this. It's a little different because, when I'm out on the Strip, I could feed off whatever's going on, whoever's around me, and I could talk about, stuff that, I could see something on the ground and talk about it for 20 minutes. I could literally stream from the Strip walking around for like 10 hours, because it's just a lot of shit to see and a lot of shit to talk about. I could make, I wouldn't say make fun of things, but just like goof around. Like last night, I found those grandstands. I thought that was fun. We goofed around. But at the same time, walking, like I was saying in that video, the transitional video, I've literally walked over 4,000 miles on the Strip, not to mention driving. It's not easy, walking 5 to 10 miles a night. At some point it's just like, whoa. I used to take a 10 regular, like everything, my sketches, my Pumas, my Cole Haan, my Asics. I used to take a 10 regular forever. That's all I've had. Now I have to take a 10 wide, which is impossible because I put so much miles on my feet, like going up and down the strip in the past 3 years. 4,000 miles over. It takes its toll. It does. I mean, it's keeping me fit to a certain degree, but not the kind of fit that I want. I think it's making me skinny. But anyway, I digress. Let's see. What did I say? Hold on, let me get back to all messages. How many subscribers do you need to be monetized? You need 1,000 subscribers and cumulatively 4,000 hours of watch time before you can be monetized. Now, you can do all the Patreons. Like, I don't understand why people wait until they have 1,000 to start. Like, see, you could start selling t-shirts and, telling people to help you out on Cash App and Venmo and all that other type of stuff. YouTube is not going to stop you from doing that, whether you have 10 subscribers or 999. It's just the monetization from ads and the ability to make super chat kicks in at 1,000, which is pretty hard, and 4,000 watch hours probably even harder, So yeah, that's the cutoff point. What do you probably spend too much time or money on, but it's totally worth it? What do I spend too much time on? That is a good question. What do I spend too much time on? I've spent too much time on a lot of things in my life. I've gone through hobby phases. Like, I've spent an enormous amount of time, like, most of my adult life training in some various form of martial art. I mean, for the combat and the self-defense aspects of it, and also the tradition. I love traditional things. I love things steeped in tradition as long as they're good. I like structured things. It's just how my brain works and everything. So yeah, I spent an extraordinary amount of time doing stuff like that. And I spent an extraordinary amount of time and money doing outdoorsy things. Fishing, hunting, camping. I like adventures. I think I'd survive the apocalypse. I know how to, start a fire, but, I know stuff. Spent money on stuff. I have all this stuff in that closet, and worth every penny of it. But at the same time, I'm not into sports. I don't do sports. So, where some people would sit for 5 hours and watch a football game, I've never done that in my entire life. Super Bowls one time a year, I've never done that. I've never spent a dime on football, baseball, basketball. I can, maybe a dime, but I've never bought a t-shirt. I mean, I probably bought this place with all the money I've either saved by not being into sports, or the money I made with the time that I worked instead of involving myself in, watching and, being a sports guy and whatnot, And when I was a kid, I used to go to like Shea Stadium and whatnot, but whatever. But as an adult, no. I don't spend money on sports. I spend money on shit that I can do, not watching other people do stuff. That's just been me, because I have, like we spoke about in the beginning, I live life with intention. Sitting around with a beer with my hand down my pants watching other men do shit doesn't entertain me. It does absolutely nothing for me. If I can't do it, I don't want to watch other people do it. It's kind of weird if you ask me. No offense to you people who are out there doing it. If that's fun relaxation in the sports, so be it. I'm not shaming you for doing it. Me, I don't do it. So all the other things I've done with my life, and do with my life, I could say have benefited me. The hunting, the fishing, the camping, the survival type things. It's going to help when the asteroid hits. It's going to help when our power grid goes down. It's going to help when, this country finally realizes there's an invasion actually taking place on our southern border. Yikes. Yeah, and I did compete in the martial arts things. Yep. First Guilo to win the Wang Fei Hung Invitational. What up? Life is beautiful. What's the other concerts in town? Life is Beautiful. Like I don't see, I don't even know. It's like I don't go to concerts either, you know? I mean, I would, but they don't entertain me. What makes me happy? You guys make me happy. I have watched Bear Grylls. Yeah, I have watched him. There's some interesting stuff with him. Like when they did the women versus the men survival with Bear Grylls, they dropped him on the island, and the men figured out they were starting fires. They had shelters, and when they dropped them all on the island, the women were all like, "Yo, girl, we don't need no man. F them men, blah, blah, blah." Like all strong, independent, you know, we don't need no man and whatnot. And like, it started to drizzle a little bit, and the men had all their stuff set up, and they built their fires. They were spearing fish and whatnot, and the women were just like, "Don't we need men? This sucks. This freaking sucks. We're gonna have to eat our words." But instead, they were just like, what did they do? They went like pure OF, you know. You know, OF. You can't say the word on YT. You can't say YT on YT either. So they went into camp like Barbie dolls. "Hi, guys. What are you doing? Oh, you're so handsome. Can I share your fish?" I thought it was the funniest thing ever to watch them all just like, but they wouldn't, the accountability just wasn't there. But that was Bear Grylls. I thought that was funny. The Naked and Afraid show. If you could stream without restrictions anywhere in the world, where would it be? If I could stream without restrictions anywhere in the world, I would love to stream straight up from the woods. Like in the deepest, darkest, dankest, Jethro Tull playing flute in the background, pine woods, like somewhere in the Pacific Northeast or the Pacific Northwest. I would do that. I would love to do live streams from outdoors, like in places that don't get signal. I would do that. You know, get down and build a shelter live and all that, but you just can't do that stuff anymore. Now, if I had a choice of where I wanted to do it, like country-wise or whatever, that's a whole different story. Like, where would I want to do it from? A place. What time is it? Oh, it's 6 o'clock. I gotta get going soon. An actual place. I gotta think about that. I don't know. I kind of love the United States, to be perfectly honest. Everyone's so enamored with going abroad and whatever. It's not like I haven't done it. So I'll admit to that. I have done some international travel, personally and for business. So if you haven't, yeah, I could see the thrill. But this country is so amazing and vast, you know? We got just about everything. You gotta stop sucking a vacuum hose and Keith fix. Yeah, you need a man. Let me bring you Bror Fredrik coming at you from deep in the freaking woods. Now jungles, me and jungles, we don't get down. Me and like mangrove forests, we don't get down. Like it's gotta be like, and it can't be like Florida forest, you know, with the scrub brush. I don't like scrub brush. I don't like tripping over things. I don't like getting my calf sliced by vines or whatever. I love straight up, beautiful, manicured, telephone pole pine groves. I think those are like the most amazing things. I would just sit there up in a tree stand and chill and just do a live stream. That would be awesome. Why do you think most Americans don't ever travel abroad? I think because this country is so vast and amazing, but I think it does pay to try. I mean, I think it is a pretty amazing thing to travel abroad, the same way it's kind of amazing, like, when everyone gets punched in the face at least once in their life. Because it's humbling, because you get to see that, uh, that the whole world doesn't revolve around you, that there's people outside. I think you get to learn that, as in my travels, I've been to several countries, and you find out that people are more alike than different, regardless of race and ethnics and color and all the rest of that shit. You have way more in common than you don't. The powers that be want you to, like, compartmentalize other people. The powers that be are more about that stuff than the actual person, than us. But you do get to see that you're just the same. You and some guy, I mean, you might not be in the deepest, dankest jungles of the Amazon going, killing a monkey to bring home to eat. But the bottom line is, he wants to feed his family. He wants to take care of himself. He wants, a little companionship, He enjoys a good barbecue just like you do. People are way more the same, regardless of their circumstance and their socio-economic status, than what we're being told and taught. And I think the quickest way to get past that is indeed to travel. And travel's also very expensive. It costs money to take off for 2 weeks and go to a foreign country and spend it. And I think the environment, I mean, quite frankly, out there in the world, a lot of people don't like Americans. So that keeps a lot of us home too. I mean, the mood out there is very, there's a lot of anti-American sentiment out there in the world to be had. Not everywhere, especially places that really want the good old USA dollar from you, but you'll encounter some crap out there, especially if you look like me. All kinds of Caucasian with the blue eyes. That's problematic some places. You know what I'm saying? Travel is amazing. Have I ever been to Washington and Oregon? Yes, I have. I have been to both. And I like the Pacific. I like the Northeast better than the Pacific Northwest, but it has the same wooded areas, except over there it rains a little too much for my taste, and you don't have the same exact amount of seasons, but I could do either one. But being damp all the time is kind of a buzzkill too. Ever visit the wonders of the world? No, I have not. I've never done the pyramids and all that type of stuff quite yet. Live from the catacombs. That's funny. A redwood forest. Oh, now you're thinking. Yeah, I don't like cactus. I don't like scrub brush. I mean, it's so weird that I live in the desert, but I don't like the desert. I don't like it. The desert is like if someone should come along with like a shop vac and some brooms and shovels and clean it up, make it a little more organized, I'd be all right with that. But the desert, I don't know. Heat? No heat. Thank you very much. You're very welcome. The Michigan's Upper Peninsula is beautiful. Yeah, I've heard that too. All right, it is 6:03. That was 2 hours. It wasn't a whole lot of questions, but I seem to be doing a whole lot of talking. So we just kind of had a rap session. So, I want to hear more questions next time. Or not. We can just continue rapping. It's all good. But this is your opportunity. And again, like I said, I'm just going to look, see if I missed any super chat activities. No. If you have interesting subject matter that you want to come on, or you think that we'd have a good vibe and discuss, there's a link down in the description. And like I said, Saturday, probably. What's today? Today's Friday. Saturday's tomorrow. Holy shit. Saturday or possibly Monday, going to be talking live with the security expert about the goings on with the hacking over there and how it's not really back up and running like they claim, which is not. And I am going to be bringing more guests on, not like an everyday thing or whatever. I think that's too stressful, but it's something I want to incorporate because I can. What up? So yeah, that's going to happen. So if you want to possibly participate, but like I said, think about it from the audience's point of view. And I'm not going to bring anyone on for clickbait and to fight and get into hardcore debates about Bear Grylls, woman versus men type stuff. But I will, as long as you're not going to be an a-hole about it, I'll debate you all day because I come with the facts. Anyway. And we will be going out on the script tomorrow night, just not sure what time yet. So I might do an afternoon with my guest, and again Saturday night. Sunday is going to be a quick members only live stream, so if you are a member, I encourage you to be one. You'll get to see that. Oh, and two more things. F1 t-shirts, link in the description, and join me on Rumble. Rumble is finally starting to do all the synchronization. That's going to allow me to live stream over there and hopefully talk a little more freely about things. I think I have 130 subscribers over there. There's no limit, but I would like to get to 150 to 200 subscribers over on Rumble, and that way I can talk about some stuff that I know would not go over the best over here. Maybe with some like-minded people like yourselves, or even if you're not like-minded, but at least we can have a discourse about it. So go find me on Rumble. There's a link in the description for that. So I'm going to invite you one last time to like, share, subscribe, and hit that bell button to get notified when I do this again, which is 5 times a week. Thank you, everyone, for the super chat. I appreciate that support. That makes these live streams possible. So thank you for that. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. And don't forget all the links down there and the Venmos, the this, da. I got it all. If you want to support me, you can. Your support means the world, keeps this channel going. And Amazon told me today that they are doing a Prime Day. When did they say? I think it's October 10th and 11th, if I'm not mistaken. So load your carts up, see what happens, and then go shopping. But they always let us, quote-unquote, influencers find out about it first. I don't know if they made a big deal about it, but I got stuff in my cart. Maria with the last minute 3 Bananamas. Thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing everyone tomorrow. I absolutely do. And we're going to have fun on the strip, as per usual. And on that... Has that freaking thing from CC Cleaner been up there the whole time? And bastards. When you tell me about that, I got an advertisement sitting in front of my beautiful screen over there. I love you guys. I'm only teasing. And on that note, Bror Fredrik out.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.